Joy Guru, I am Amolendu Chatterjee, an ex-associate professor in zoology and SPR. I discuss religious or spiritual or related topics as far as my knowledge goes. I have no intention whatsoever to hurt anybody's sentiment. If I do it inadvertently, then please forgive me. I would rather request you to treat my deliberation as mere discussion only. And this is equally true for my former discussions as well as this present discussion, and also for future discussions, if any. Do subscribe to this channel of mine, namely Onukul Kotha, if you like the content. Now today's topic of discussion is, which is the best way to see, to visualize a thing, a matter, an incident, so that we won't get, cheated. We won't never ever get cheated. Now, take a real life example. Suppose a place is earmarked, for setting up a heavy industry, and you have been given the responsibility to take or to offer a considered opinion. And what you would do, and in which way you would see the entire incident, the entire scenario. Now, before telling this, I would like to state an incident which happened on 18th December 1941. I think you will get the proper answer if we closely examine the entire incident. It all happened as I have stated, on 18th December 1941, when Sri Thakur Onukul Chandra was seated on a four-legged wooden cot at the baranda of Matri Mandir. Actually, it is situated at his native village, namely Himayatpur. It is adjacent to Pabna town of present Bangladesh. And it was a morning time, and he was watching towards the sky, and he keenly gazed on a particular scenario maybe, and it was evident that he was watching something very special. And then, after seeing the entire scenario, he pointed his finger towards his scribe, namely Prafulloda. His full name is Prafullo Kumar Das. We popularly tell him as Prafulloda. And he asked Prafulloda to see the scenario of the sky and to tell him and asked him that, tell me what it looks like. Actually, what happened a thin layer of clouds, a wave of thin layer of clouds was flowing just beneath the sky. And Prafulloda came close to Sri Thakur, and he saw the entire scenario but could not fathom anything. And that's why he said, well, I cannot match this scenario with anything. Then Sri Thakur Onukul Chandra emphatically said, no, see it properly, see it minutely. You will have to tell it. I won't like to hear any of your explanations or any of your pleas. Prafulloda got perplexed, and then Prafulloda keenly watched the entire scenario for a long while, and ultimately he was able to construct something. And he said, well, it looks like a gigantic elephant. Being absolutely delighted, Sri Thakur Onukul Chandra said with a delightful tone, well done, my boy. But just now you have stated that you won't find any resemblance with this scene. See, Prafullo, try to see things both synthetically as well as analytically. By synthetic outlook, Sri Thakur Onukul Chandra has explained that try to construct one out of many. Try to construct one out of many. And by analytical outlook, he has explained that try to divide an integrated whole into different components and try to see the characteristic features of each and every component. So therefore, these two outlooks are actually necessary. Sri Thakur Onukul Chandra stated that these two outlooks are necessary to see not only for a particular thing, it is equally true to see or to examine a particular incident, a particular literary piece of work, be it a novel, be it a story, or be it a piece of science, or be it a business deal, or be it a political resolution, or even be it a trivial household matter. You will have to see both synthetically as well as analytically. In other words, these bidirectional outlooks are actually necessary to see things so that you won't get cheated. And Sri Thakur Ankul Chandra has also stated that the more is the circumference of the synthetic and analytic outlook, the more a person is intelligent. In other words, he has stated that both these two outlooks, that is namely synthetic outlook and analytic outlook, both these two outlooks have different layers, have different facets. In other words, the circumference of these two outlooks is really very vast, and a person who can see things deeply, who can go deeply into the vastness of the circumference of these two outlooks, the more intelligent he is, the more accurate decision he can take, the more accurate policy he can frame. So this is the saying of Sri Thakur Ankul Chandra. And also, he has also stated, in other words, in conclusion, he has stated that we need to practice, we need to practice this way of seeing things. In other words, we need to practice to see things both synthetically as well as analytically. And in the process, wise eye, or you can say wisdom eye, would open up. Now, coming into the format discussion, that is, a place is earmarked for setting up of a heavy industry, and you have been given the responsibility to take a policy decision, or to take to give or to offer an opinion whether it would be sustainable, it would be good, holistically. So what would you like, what you should do? You should do to construct the entire thing both synthetically as well as analytically. You would have to see whether, what is the synthetic outlook that a particular heavy industry would be constructed. This is the synthetic outlook. But the analytic outlook is simply this, that you would have to see the different components of this particular policy. For example, what would be the employment generation? What would be the employment opportunities? What would be the revenues that would be generated, and that would benefit both the state as well as the center? And above all, what would be whether the people in general would be benefited or not? And there are other components also. For example, environment. What would be the environmental impact as far as the pollution is concerned, and what would be the long-term effect? And different components you will have to see. So, the more you can expand the vastness of the circumference of these two outlooks, the more you can give the accurate decision. For example, in case of the scenario that Sri Thakur Ankul Chandra had watched, if we split, if we see it both synthetically and analytically, then what we would get? If we see it synthetically, then it looked like a gigantic elephant. So therefore, a gigantic elephant, the form of a gigantic elephant is the synthetic outlook. That is, I see it out of many. By analytic outlook, that means that it had different components. The problem with Prafullada was simply this, that Prafullada could not construct, it could not construct one integrated whole out of many components. But Sri Thakur Ankul Chandra did so very easily, because he had wisdom eyes, he had wise eyes. Maybe Prafullada saw the same thing. That is this, he also saw the different components. Maybe the one component of that particular scenario looked like the tail of that particular elephant. One component or more than one components of that particular scenario looked like the legs of the elephant, or one particular part of the whole scenario looked like the trunk of the elephant, so on and so forth. So Prafullada could not split the different components and could not construct an integrated whole. So the synthetic outlook is that the formation of a gigantic outlook. That was the, you can say, to construct one out of many. And what are the different components, as I have already stated? Legs, tail, trunk, etc., etc. So this is precisely the reason why, you see, Prafullada could not construct the thing so easily. But afterwards he did, however. Same is the case here. But you see, you may raise this question, you may say this thing that, well, if I see things, if I see any matter both synthetically as well as analytically, then it would take a very long time. You see, nowadays time has its own importance. So therefore, I can't spend much time. You will have to forecast, you will have to give your opinion within a very short period of time. Well, it can be done. As Sri Thakur stated, that if we practice this way of seeing things, this way of visualizing things, then automatically the wisdom eye, or you can say the wise eye, would open up. So therefore, it's not that difficult to give or to offer a conclusion or a policy. So therefore, this is not only true for a political resolution, and it is our day-to-day experience that a particular political party, for example, who is in power, for example, maybe it is in the state or in the center. I would not name any. For example, any political party who is in power, see, that party advocates a particular component of that particular integrated whole for a heavy industry, and this party is advocating that yes, this particular heavy industry can easily be set up here, and people in general would be benefited. While the opposite parties, they advocate that different difficulties, different inconveniences would result if this particular heavy industry would set up. Actually, both the visions, both the I should say decisions, both the policies may be entirely wrong. So what is needed, that you would like to see things, impartially. So therefore, there are some people who are neutral, who are impartial, and who should have this wise eye or wisdom eye, so to see or to construct one out of many and to split an integrated whole into many. And as I have already stated, that by practice, through prolonged practice, one can take decision easily and with a very short period of time. As you all know, practice makes man perfect. So live in love. Joy.